I am Ruud Maas. I am the chairman of the Volt fraction in the City Council of Utrecht. And we are now in our office. This is the office of the Volt fraction in City Hall. So this very beautiful old building, we have a room. In fact, you should actually go, well, come up with me. Is that possible?
Yeah.
Okay. So walk with me and I'll show you the view from the hall down here, because in summer it's really bad overlooking the square over here, but more over here. Sometimes it's hard to work in summer where all the people are on the terraces and we are slaving our butts off here to do something for democracy in Utrecht. But we do it with pleasure. So, that's okay. All right.
Yeah. So it's a half-time, part-time. How are you working here?
Yeah, we're working part-time. It's estimated about 20 hours a week, but I can tell you from experience it's much more. So I'm slaving my butt off. I'm still working somewhere else. I had to earn some money because, well, it's okay. But I like it. It's for fun.
What do you do in your job then?
In fact, I'm a course designer. I design bachelor and master courses for educational institutes. And that's what I do for a living.
Okay. Like any courses or specifically?
No. Specifically in healthcare. So that's my specialty, and I think about education and then start building and then, well, make something for an institute. And then, well, in 2 weeks, one of my bachelor educational projects goes to the Dutch government to get accredited for higher education. So, nice. Yeah, that if I succeed, that'll be nice. If not, I have to go and worry about my job, probably.
Okay.
Well,
and apart from slaving your ass off,
yes.
Like what are you doing in your free time to release some stress?
Well, my free time, I don't really have free time, but well, as you can see, Utrecht is a very nice city. So it's very. What I do is stroll through the city with my wife, drink a beer on the terrace, or maybe go to the woods surrounded by the city. Over there, there's many beautiful places. Or take the bike for a tour. That's what I do. Yeah, sure.
And do you do any policy work with your job here as well? Or is it like a whole different story in the council between education? So do you do education here?
No.
And so on? Nothing at all?
No, I don't do education.
What's your policy here? Like what's your committee or whatever?
Yeah, well, I do in fact 2 things. I do a committee together with one of the employees. We do the committee which is about youth care, about welfare, social services, that kind of stuff. And I do the hard things of finance, security, law, police, that kind of work.
Okay. And what is like a big challenge that Utrecht faces at the moment?
Well, one of the biggest challenges, well, we have a few challenges. Housing is an enormous challenge. Well, look at the card. This is actually an old card of Utrecht, but you see the blue lines, which is the city border, and then you see this very green piece. Well, I hear all Volters think, green, that's great for us, let's keep it that way. Well, no, we don't want that, because in this city it's the last place we can build houses. And this green is only, in fact, grass and not very beautiful, developed nature or something. It's in between the highways. But now we have a very progressive council over here. A part of the council wants to build houses here, about 25,000 to 40,000 even. And another part of the council, of the parties, want to make windmills over here and do maybe a sun park and not build houses. But in 2040, the city will about be 450,000 people. It's now 370 or something. So we have an enormous amount of housing necessary to house these people. And this is the last place where we can do it. One of the parties says we have to do this inside of our buildings, inside of our city. But that would mean that we go with very high living towers and very much people on very little room. And then they say we'll make mini forests. And mini forest, you gotta see that as a wall with holes in it and plants growing out of it, and maybe one or two trees. So that's not the idea of how in the city one should create green spaces. So we want to build here, research if there's enough place for windmills, because as you probably know, windmills is a very challenging item because it's proven that it creates health problems if you're too close to it. So they want them here, so these people who live here are having trouble with that, and I can understand that. But the problem is a lot of money spent on participation of all the people, but nobody really listens. So there's still always a fight going on between can we place windmills, yes or no. So we don't know yet. But one of our other big problems is leaving gas. And not the petrol which you put in cars, but the gas which comes out for cooking. You know?
Okay, yeah.
We have a lot of that, but we want to ban all fossil fuel and gas from the city, so cooking will be electric, and so we can do a transition from energy. So we probably need windmills. So this is really always a problem where you have to make choices, and that what makes politics in the city so interesting. So I had many voters email me when I said windmills in that part is not the first thing we would do. Let's start building houses first so we can house people, and then check where we can find room for windmills. Because in this total area of the province of Utrecht, there's other places where you can place windmills, but you have to cooperate with villages and other cities, and so this is a huge problem.
Yeah. So you see when you are actually like in the council now that it's a lot of complex issues to tackle, yes. And that there's not like we need windmills so we build windmills, but
no.
There's like
before we were in council, I thought politics were clear. So you had an idea or what should happen. So energy transition, yeah, we must do that. Yes, but now we're faced to yes, we must do that, but how? And then you have to make compromises and find solutions for the challenges you have. For example, you see that little lake over there down the bottom. Well, it's fine. You should think that's nice for the people who are going to live there to recreate, but it's heavily polluted. So you can't do anything with it. So we suggested that it could be a place where you could place floating solar panels. So that could be an idea. But that's the kind of thing you're working with, so that's very, very hard. One of our main challenges here is a transparent government. In this, the college we call the mayor and the alderman, we call that the college. It's the parties who in the coalition who govern the city. They always make ideas, make letters of intent, all kind of stuff, and we read them, but we never find what are the exact goals you want to, what do you strive to, what are the results of all these intentions. So if you're in politics, you always hear we're doing everything we can to, I don't know, build houses or the energy transition. We're doing everything, but our question is always: are you doing the right things? How do you measure your all the things you do? How do you measure them, and how do you look if it's okay, if it works? So what we are doing here is always asking for transparency. You know the term SMART goals? Well, if the word SMART is heard in this council, everybody starts looking at me, so they know the volt fraction is the party from the SMART goals. So that's what we do. And on the other hand, we one of our biggest successes in this council was the lobby register. So we filed a motion to start with a lobby register for council and the college and the top 30 of the people who work in City Hall. And we want, that was a motion I filed, we want to see who they talk to. We want to see who the mayor has spoken when she talks about building houses there. And we want to see which bank does business over there and if they talk with us. So we want this transparency for everybody in this council. Well, we filed a motion and it was accepted.
Okay,
Yes. So we're the first of all the cities who are going to have that. And that's a real success. Right now, this research team of the university studying how we can do that best. And I have already written a letter for the paper in which we, as a party, say what we want that the outcome of these lobby register will look like. So.
And how do you want to have it look like?
Well, if you want to have a register, you must be careful that it's not going to be a huge bureaucracy. So everybody has to work. So that's not what we want. We want a public register where, as you want to come talk to me, you'll do an application and you fill in who you are, who you work for, and what you want. And after that, you can phone me and make an appointment, and I will ask you, are you already in the lobby register, yes or no? And I can check that and then see what we can do. So when I have an appointment with you, it's duly noted that we have an appointment, and everybody can look in the register to see who did we spoke to. So that's how it's going to work. That's what we want.
The argument against this is always when you have something like this, people will use black channels like back channels or just meet for a coffee somewhere and just don't register it.
But it's as a council member, it's my responsibility to not do this. And what we're discussing now, if we can find as you say, there's always a way around. Well, we're looking for a way to get sanctions, to sanctionize it. Mm-hmm. So if my back talk comes out in the open somehow, I could be suspended or something. So that's what we're looking for, which is going to work. On the other hand, you can't sanction it all because it's real life and it happens. We all know it. But let's be open about it. So that's a good start for us. Let's try it and be open about it. So if that will work, that will be a huge success.
in the campaign, the Dutch Volt team, in the national as well as in the municipal elections, said we are doing new politics and they are doing old politics. And do you still, like in your work in the council, see how old politics is made, and how does it look like?
Yeah. Well, old politics, new politics, it's politics. But we think transparency is the key. So we want to be judged on what we do and let everybody see what we do. And that's not what old politics is. Because I told you a little about the housing over there. There's other problems. In the city, for example, there's a part of the old city, very beautiful part, near the canals, where the element of traffic wants to build bike routes, special bike routes, because I explained to you in the center, there's too many bikes. There's traffic jams of bikes, so we have to do something. So she wants from the central station, the train station, she wants a route through the north, and she wants a route through the south to go to the university and the other parts of town. Well, that's great. We love that. We're very pro that. But what she wants to do is to make these routes for bikes like highways of bikes. Very, they're all, well, if you look through the city, you can find them because they're all in red, which call the stuff which you put on the highways, the black tar, right? She wants it in red tar, but maybe you know how polluted tar is. Tar is one of the big pollution problems in the world, and in the Netherlands especially. And now around these old canals, there's routes with red cobblestones, and she wants to put out the cobblestones and put tar in it, and we don't want that. She said, "But well, there's no problem because we talked to all the people over there living there, and they don't have a problem with it." Well, that's not true. They're very much in trouble. So the way for an alderman to get away with it, that's old politics. We say you do this, we didn't really do it because nobody's interested, and we do it anyway the way we want. So that's not how politics go in Volt's way. So we want to be transparent in who have you talked to? Who are the people who really did this? When was that? What were the effects of it? What were the results of all this participation of civilians over here? And when we see those results, we want to make a decision. So that's what new politics is all about. You have a goal, you formulate how the results of this goal will be available for everybody. You do it and you check it, and then you check if it's done and if it works, and if it works, it's okay, let's do it. So that's how new politics go, in my opinion.
So how would this specifically look like in this concrete example where they want to build, like if you were the alderman or if Volt has an alderman now, like how would the perfect process look like?
Well, the perfect process would be that you have the participation in the front, not when you have made a decision and then go talk to the civilians what your decision was. Well, that's what happens over here. No, you take it to the front. So you have an idea. We want to make a bike route around these canals. And you're on the route. Help us, please, civilians. How can we do this? How can we do this? Well, you make a council, you put them together, and you ask maybe a creative team with that, and they work on solutions. And it's very well done. If you ask the people from Utrecht, we have a problem, help us to solve it, they're happy to do that. So if you have a question about how can I find a solution, go to the people of Utrecht and ask them, how can we make an effort to get the goals so that we have good results, so that everybody is willing to participate. So you should put the participation process in the beginning. When you have a question, when you have a problem, go talk to the people first, and then decide what you're going to do. Instead of decide what you're going to do and tell the people what you're going to do.
Sounds easy. Yeah.
Sounds easy, but it isn't.
Sounds sensible. Yeah. Sounds sensible.
But it's not easy. So.
Why is not easy? Why it's.
Well, it's always hard because in cities like Utrecht, participation is always a thing of the happy few. So if you live in the rich parts of the city, there's people participating in everything. If you wanna put a new tree, there's people talking about it, and they'll come to you. But in the poorer parts, it's not. And if you go to the poorer parts, you get the students who come to participate with you, but you don't get a substantial part of the people of Utrecht. You don't speak them. So it's very hard to get all the people of Utrecht to think and to participate in finding a solution to problems. That's very hard. So we're looking for ways to do that. Yeah, what we call here the Burgerberaad, the people of Utrecht thinking about solutions for problems. That's a good start, but you have to be very careful that it's inclusive for everybody, that it's not only rich, white, and students, but there's black people and people from lower social standards that they participate too. Because it's easy, you know. In Overvecht, in the north, it's an area which is relatively more poor, and there's a lot of high flats, so living towers. And one of the elements said, well, that's the first part of town which we dismantle from gas for cooking. Well, okay, good goal, very well, let's do that. But how? Because the people who live there, they live in social housing, sometimes very bad houses, not renovated, no solar panels on the top. So how are you going to do that? The companies who are the renters, now the rent givers, how do you call that? It's the company who does that. They say, well, we're going to put in every house, we're going to put an electrical cooking device. Finish. But do you know how it works when you go from gas cooking to electric cooking? Your pots and pans are worthless because you can't use the same. You have to buy new pots and pans to go from gas to electric cooking, because the surface of the new pans has to be magnetic and 100% straight.
It's inductive, right?
It's inductive.
It's inductive,
yeah.
not like
yeah.
okay.
No, not like the old electrical. Yeah. No, it's inductive. So how are you going to do this? So now they have to buy pots and pans too. So that's what we did for.
All right.
Yeah. Interesting,
so
no?
It is.
Yeah.
Like, can you say still, like, how does Volt distinguish itself in the city council from other parties? Because there is the Social Democrats, there's the CC66, Green Links, I think, is in there as well. Like,
yes.
And like, how would you say, like, you differ from those parties?
Well, we have a lot in common too. Our main thing is the transparency here, because GroenLinks and D66, they are progressive parties, and in a lot of what they do, we'll find we have the same solutions, and we'll find it okay what they do, and we say it's okay what they do. But we want it to be transparent, and that's our main thing. So that's where we differ in extension with them, because both parties are very old political parties in the Netherlands, and the fact that they're all political parties implies that they do old politics, and that's exactly what happens. So that's where we differ very much. What we do too is we always want the European solution. So we had this debate just a week ago. We had this debate on security, because in the city center, where you probably passed in your way out of the station, there's an area on which there's many people from what they call safe countries, which is not true, but who applied for asylum over here, but didn't get it, but were not sent out. So they are staying there illegally, can't work, have no money, are sometimes homeless, drink a lot, use drugs there. So there's many problems there in aggression, in stealing, in pickpocketing, in shoplifting, very much. And we had a debate on this. And all these old political parties all say, well, it's a solution of the country. We should be much stronger and put these asylum seekers out. Yeah, I would like to ask where to, and where do we leave them, and what do we do with them? Because these people have no money, they have no home. It's not for nothing that they came here. So let's help them, is what we say. And then one of my best friends in this council said, but we have to put them out. And one of his frontmen of his party in the National Council said that we should rent an airplane and put those people in there and send it to Rwanda and leave them in a camp there. So when he asked me, what does Vol think of how we should go around with these people, doesn't Vol think that we should be very much stronger to put them out of the country? I replied that I don't think it's a good idea to use a plane for Rwanda to do that. So then he was quite pissed, but yeah, well, shouldn't make that really ridiculous solutions.
What's the time?
Yeah, it's time to stop. It's 12 o'clock.
Yes, all right. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you.